So good morning. Welcome to Healthy Bites. You don't like this yet. I'm Tracy Haynes. I'm one of the master teachers for preschool, and we have Debbie Benz and Ann Donovan. Good morning. So we're going to get started. So we're going to talk today about the purpose of why we're doing this program, and it's to support the healthy eating of our young learners. We know that sometimes they can be choosy eaters, and we want to make sure that we always offer them the best in everything in our education. When we're at this building, we want every opportunity is an educational opportunity. So even right down to eating healthy. So we have guidelines. We follow New Jersey standards, and we also have it in our handbook of guidelines on what to serve children and portion control. So in this workshop, we're going to cover some statistics. We're also going to cover some recommended practices, meal planning and prepping, and also how to involve your child, because we know that when they have hands-on and they're engaged in the opportunity, that there's more buy-in. So some statistics. Let's talk about why we're doing this workshop. Over the past 3 decades, child obesity rates have tripled. We're finding that children are their weight is a little higher, and there's lots of reasons why. 1 in 3 children are overweight, and if it's not addressed, the children, 1/3 of all the children born in 2000 or later will suffer from diabetes, and that's really scary. And it's the reason why is so many things have changed over the years. How did we get here? 30 years ago, and I could attest to that, and even beyond that, we walked to school every day, to and from school. We played for hours after school, come home and change our clothes into play clothes and go directly outside, and you played till dark. You were active. We ate home-cooked meals, usually with vegetables on the plate, and fast food eating was really rare. And snacking between meals was actually an occasional treat. You have only one snack today. And today, children ride in cars and buses to and from school. Afternoons are usually spent watching TV, video games, internet. And families eat fewer home-cooked meals. Snacking between meals is commonplace. Our life becomes much busier. We have a more jam-packed day. So today, we find that we're always rushing here and there and everywhere, and maybe we're short for time for cooking a meal or snacking in between meals just to get from one meal to the next because we're rushing around. 30 years ago, they ate 1 snack a day. Now we're talking about children that eat towards 3 snacks, resulting in an extra 200 calories per day. 1 in 5 school-age children have up to 6 snacks a day. And like I said, busy lifestyle, running to practices, parents working late and children going to it before care and after care, trying to get from one meal to the next. We've become more snack-oriented than we do about healthy portions. And our portions have gotten really big, 2 to 5 times bigger. They can go for the Big Mac and the Biggie fries instead of the smaller portion. We actually eat 31% more calories, including 56% more in fats and oils, and 14% more in sugar. That comes from a website called letsmove.gov.
Okay, so we all want the best for our children. We want the best for ourselves. That's always the way we do. So today I'm going to talk about a little bit of what's recommended. Most of this is from the American Academy of Pediatrics. And we're going to be talking and targeting ages 3 to 5, okay, because that's our preschool population. And it just doesn't mean, like, sometimes we read it's like, oh gosh, this is so hard. And it is hard. But if we go through recommended practices, we can be mindful and make decisions that might be a little bit better than just grabbing something off the shelf. and it takes a lot of work. It's a lot of thought and it's a lot of work. And as Tracy was saying, we're busy, right? We're here, we're there, and everything. So we're going to go through some of the main food sources. First thing we're going to talk about is beverages. Beverages are really interesting, right? So, of course, what's recommended for children over the age of 2, 3 to 5 we're talking about, is low-fat milk or fat-free milk. Okay, now when I was a kid, everybody drank whole milk. So why do you think now it's fat-free milk and 1% milk?
So it's less fat?
Right, there's less fat. However, it has the same amount of nutrients. We're looking for calcium and vitamin D. And when they looked at it, it has the same amount of the nutrients that we're trying to get, but it has less fat and less calories. So that's what we're going to provide. Or plain old water, right? Plain old water with no sweeteners. What's not recommended is, this is the challenge, right? Soft drinks, your sports drinks, and juices. What do our kids love to drink? Juice. Are there like 500 different juices out on the market, right? And it's
And they come
really
in cool little bottles?
Oh, cool little advertising and marketing is killing us. It really is, because it's just marketed for young children. And it's pretty and it's colorful and everything. So you have a plain, clear bottle of water and you have something that's blue with a unicorn on it, you're tending to do that. And the recommendation is juice is okay, but 1 serving per day, just 1 serving. And we're going to talk about some serving sizes in a little bit. And it's really surprising what a 1 serving of juice is. So that's what recommended, not recommended, and what to limit. So right now we're going to do a little activity. And you might want to come and join us over at this table or another table so you can also be involved. On your table there are 5 beverages. Okay, there's 5 bottles of something or a carton. I want you to, without looking at the label, put them in order from what you think is the healthiest to the non-healthiest. Like if I had to choose one of these, what would be the healthiest? So just take your 5 bottles.
Beverages now.
Just the beverages. You have 5 beverages.
Oh my God, I really hope.
So try to put them in order, what you think would be like, and don't look at the labels, no peeking.
Yeah, I know.
Now you can do the, do the least healthiest, most healthiest, or start with the most healthiest. I put them in
I was just like cranberry with that and, yeah. So pastries were something for pastries before, right? No. Oh, you're thinking about that?
No, there's less sugar.
There's a lot more sugar in orange.
Yeah.
0 to 100 within like 10 seconds of drinking.
It's tricky, isn't it, right?
Can we help you? No.
Without looking at the, I think that's what's all cheap, but greedy. You got to put like some kind of color in it, like a splash of juice.
Because I get this one, we only do juice up there, and it's only a needed
Okay, so how did you do? I heard some things, I heard like, oh, orange juice.
Yeah.
But it gets you going in the morning, it's 100, it's lots of vitamin C.
All that sugar.
Interestingly enough, now I want you just to glance at your sugar content. Because that's the problem with these type of drinks. They're loaded with sugar. And children are consuming lots of this sugar. It's leading to obesity, overweightness, and tooth decay, right?
33.
Okay.
I was right. Oh, boy. That's
Yeah.
We know it's
Yeah,
not.
my daughter's like, it feels funny. I'm like, that's
I've
not.
actually never tried it.
Yeah.
I mean, it said lower sugar right
Right. For instance, look at this. It's 100% juice. It's cranberry. There's no sugar added, but look at how much sugar is. How many grams of sugar is in it?
32.
32 grams of sugar. But it says there's no sugar added, but it's so much natural sugar that goes into it. It doesn't make it maybe the best choice. So now we're going to take it one step further. In your little baskets here, there's another little basket that has sugar packets. At your table, I want you to pick one of those products, and I want you to figure out, these are teaspoons of sugar, count out the amount of sugar and see how many packets of sugar would be included in that drink. So, what you have to do,
There's more sugar in it than that.
you look at the grams of sugar and you divide it by 4. So look at the, pick one product. Did you pick one product?
Yes.
Okay. Now look at how many grams of sugar is in it.
Okay, so 64 divided by 20.
Right, so you calculate out the grams of sugar, count out that many packets, because when you visually see it, 65 grams, so then divide that by 4, just estimate it. Right, count out that many packets and put it right in front of you. Exactly, I just looked at it, can you imagine putting all that in coffee?
So even that is
That's it, Chick-fil-A out of Lincoln.
Interesting, isn't it? Right? Pretty surprising, isn't it? Or you're like, wow, that's like, when you see the actual packet of sugar, right? So our children are bombarded. I saw this. Tummy Yummies. It's Big Berry Black. It's naturally flavored water drink, right? A little bottle of water. It's just crazy. It has like 15 grams of sugar in it. It doesn't have anything really good in it at all. But once again, it's tricky because this is the way it's marketed, right? Everything's 100% Snapple, lemon tea, fresh, healthy, you know, so you just think. So we have to be good consumers and we can't get tricked, all right? We just can't get tricked by it. So once again, milk or water. And if we don't provide other drinks for children, they're going to drink the milk and the water. If that's what we have. So I also want to tell you that at lunch here, we always provide milk and water to all of the children, whether you're buying lunch or not. So you don't even have to be bothered with what kind of drink you're sending, because they pour their own milk, they pour their own water, and they're perfectly happy. That's what's available, that's what they will drink, okay? So think about that as far as beverages. Let's think about fruits and vegetables. We need a variety of fruits and vegetables. Most children and adults, through the dietary consults, are not getting enough. It adds fiber. It's a healthy option. And what's the good thing about fruits for children? They're natural and they're sweet, right? They taste good. They taste good. So it's not really hard to get children to eat fresh fruit or frozen fruit. Just be mindful of canned is okay or packaged fruit, but what do you want it to be in? Water, right? So it just means, like, you know, when they put them all together, you have to choose those water ones over the heavy syrupy type, right? It helps children feel full. Vegetables, is it just as healthy to eat a cooked vegetable or raw vegetable?
Raw vegetables.
Raw vegetables are absolutely fine. And for some reason, they're sometimes more appealing. However, be careful with the young children, 3 to 5, that we're not choosing or cutting anything where it could be a choking hazard, because the raw vegetables are hard to eat. But it also, if we start giving fruits and vegetables at age, making it a part of every meal, it becomes part of a habit. A lot of eating is habit, right? It's what you're used to, and we need to be doing that. So we want to watch those dried fruits, tend to be really heavy in sugar content. They're sure good. You ever have those pineapple pieces? They're really yummy. But they're not as healthy and they're not recommended. And of course, potatoes, right? But when you start getting into what's their favorite, French fries and all those fried foods, it takes away and they're not recommended. So we're going to stick to those fruits and vegetables, making sure that they're safe for children to eat, fruits and vegetables. Grains and breads, really tricky. What are we going to be looking for in breads and grains? You probably know this, right? Toughest thing to get kids to eat. Whole grain, right? Whole grain using whole wheat flours. And when you're looking at packaging, just not whole grains, but whole wheat flour. But that means it's not white bread, right? And it's a hard time to get children to start trying those types of things. Now I think there's many, many types that you can get and everything else. So, so we're looking for whole grain pastas, even if you mix it a little bit. Whole grain breads, brown rices. So we're trying to get away from that white flour that really has no nutrients in it. It's the whole grains of where the nutrients are. We're going to limit that fat and sugar and salt. And this is the tough thing. How are your kids with cereals? What do they like to choose? No, you guys are good. Cheerios? Special K. So you're really looking for that type. Once again, marketing. When you go to the grocery store, think about it. What's all on the children's level?
Paw Patrol.
Right? Lucky Charm, unicorn, right? Rainbow sprinkle, the little donut ones or whatever those are. Because they know that they're selling and your child's gonna be like, oh, I want those. Where's the Cheerios and all the healthy stuff? High, over to the side, right? That's what they're doing. And when you're watching TV and they're advertising, especially during children's time with the children's show, what are you seeing? It's usually those types because they want you to buy those products. But we're not going to fall for it, right? We're going to feed our children those healthy ones. So we definitely want cereals with no more than 6 grams of sugar in it. So you really have to look at your packaging. No more than 6 grams. We're going to look for, try to stay away from those, I know they package them like they're super healthy, like granola bars and things like those are more treats or special things than regular food that we should be eating all the time. So that's a little bit challenging. We're not eating enough of all these things, and we need to create these healthy habits early. Okay, the next. Meats and meat alternative. What kind of chicken do your children like? Nuggets, right? Chicken nuggets. Now, fortunately, we're at least getting nuggets, if we get nuggets, to look for the ones in whole grain. They're doing them now in whole grain, which is somewhat better. They're still processed. So we really want to look for lean meats, like the skinless, boneless turkey and chicken, because they're sources of protein, and we need protein. Protein helps our amino acids and repairing of muscles and growth. We want our children to be growing and getting what they need. So it's not just meats, it's also, we can look for things like beans, right? Beans are a good source of protein. Peas, legumes, right? Butters, not only peanut butters, now there's a slew of nut butters and sunflower butters. Those are all good. Fat-free and low-fat yogurt, once again, they market those blue ones and red ones and green ones, but if you take some low-fat yogurt and mix some fresh fruit with it, guess what? You squeeze a little raspberry juice in it and it becomes pink, right? So we have to play with those things. A little time-consuming, or you crush those blueberries and it becomes blue. So I'm thinking about that. Eggs, wonderful source of protein. I don't know how many times I've even eat eggs for dinner, you know, have a breakfast for dinner. Things such as low-fat cottage cheese and cheeses. Be careful of warning with those cheeses. Anything wrapped in plastic is probably not, like those slices that come, they're probably not a natural cheese source. Your Velveetas and all those things. They're loaded with fats. I know they taste really good. However, we need to be wary of those. We want to start looking for and trying to stay away from those fried foods, those fatty foods such as the sausages and the bacon. There's wonderful turkey products out now that we can, you know, kind of cut back on. Same hot dogs. I mean, when we were hot dogs, children love hot dogs. But now there's turkey dogs with a lot less fat in it, so we can look at those types of products. Nuts and seeds, right? Sprinkle a little bit into something, and children never even know that they're there. So that's a lot of things to think about. And now we're saying this is actually what a child's plate should look like. one of the biggest things that we kind of have a misconception about is portion sizes. So in your baskets, you have some measuring cups. I just want you to take them out for a second so we can look at it. Somebody can hold them up. There you go. We're talking about a quarter of a cup of grain. So look at a quarter of a cup. Look at the amount, right? It's a really small amount, a quarter a cup of grain. And when you're talking about bread, it's usually about a half of a slice. You know, sometimes we want them to eat with these big sandwiches, and we're so upset because you didn't eat anything, but they have eaten some. We're looking about 1.5 ounces a serving, and I think it's about 3 tablespoons. You see your tablespoon? 3 tablespoons of meat, a very small part of protein. A full egg is even more than a portion size for a 3-year-old. It's only 3/4 of an egg would be appropriate size for a 3-year-old. We want a half a cup total of a fruit, either 2 vegetables or a fruit. So you're talking about maybe a strawberry and a half a banana is still appropriate portion sizes for children.
So you're saying like for a 3-year-old, but we can't really go by like age because some children are actually the size. Like my son is 3.5 and he's almost the size of a 5-year-old height-wise.
Right.
So we have to kind of go.
So what they're saying is you start with this, absolutely, you start with that, and then if they need to provide more and more. Absolutely, you have to do it, each child is individual. Well, I'm looking at the opposite of when we think that they're not eating anything, and they're not hungry, and they're saying, I don't want any more. Go ahead.
What do you do for a kid who won't eat that?
Oh.
My son's 3, but him and Brian are almost the same size because of his CP, so he has a lot of the sensory issues, the color issues. He lives off of honey bunches of oats and things like that.
And we're going to talk about
McDonald's
that.
and-
We said we don't like that yet, and they sometimes call them picky eaters, and we're going to call them choosy eaters, and we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
So I'm glad that you brought that up. Make sure that when we're providing food, once again, 3 to 5 choking hazards. If you're going to give grapes, we need to cut them. If we're going to give hard things like carrots, make sure that they're not pointed. And be careful, never leave children alone when they're eating. Same with turkey dogs, make sure you're sliced down. Hard fruits, even apples, hard chunks of apples could be dangerous. Bite-sized steamer mash, even peanut butter. For a lot of children, you said with sensory issues, if you just cut it with a little applesauce, or applesauce, it thins it. So it's easier to swallow and chew. We want to be very, very mindful of that. And I agree, yeah, that looks really great, but my kid's not going to eat that, right? But, right, absolutely. So one more thing we want to look at, we talked about beverages. There's 2 cups in your little baskets. Look at that. Do you see that juice, where the one that says juice? That is all the juice your child is supposed to consume in a day.
Okay.
All right? It is 4 ounces. It's a half a cup of juice, of natural, unsugared, unsweetened juice, which it's even hard to find that size. So even this little apple juice is more than a portion of juice per day, right? Even gives us more reason to stick to that water and to the milk. The milk is 3/4 of a cup, 6 ounces, could be served for snack, lunch, and dinner. So the milk consumption is higher than, of course, the juice because it doesn't have as much fat, it doesn't have as much sugar. Go ahead.
What about almond milk?
Almond milk, I think it's been substituted too, right? They have the new, there's so many different milks now, like the almond milk, there's coconut milk, there's all kinds of milks that people are substituting, especially with children with allergies, right? Okay. So is anything was surprising? Yeah, I know, right? So the question is, all right, now that we know this information, how do we get them to eat these things? How can we keep introducing? What can we do to support them in developing lifelong healthy eating habits? And I think Tracy's going to pick up on that.
So we're going to watch a video. Tips for parents of choosy eaters. We're going to use the words choosy eaters. Just gonna watch.
A yogurt? No?
Kathleen Chu's 4-year-old daughter Julianne definitely has her opinions when it comes to mealtime.
When I go to the grocery store, I know that there are 500 kinds of vegetables and fruit, and I buy the same 3 all the time.
About 1/3 of parents say their child is a picky eater, and in many cases, registered dietitian Annie Huang says it's nothing to worry about.
It is one of the few ways children can exert an influence on their parents and caregivers, and that's through eating or not eating.
Huang says it's a natural stage of developing some independence, but there are some things parents can do.
Introducing a variety of foods in the toddler ages are crucial because of that window of time, and when children get older, it's harder to accept newer and newer flavors.
Parents also need to keep in mind that kids are more tuned into their satiety cues than adults. Also, a child's appetite will fluctuate at various stages.
And we're so used to seeing our portion sizes that as adults, we forget that kids have a smaller tummy and they don't need as much food.
That means don't bribe them into eating that extra bite by promising a cookie. When approaching mealtime, Huang recommends a division of responsibilities. Parents decide what, when, and where to eat. Children decide whether to eat and how much. It can help to involve a child in preparing meals, but don't cook them a separate one.
One family meal, no short order cooking.
Huang says you can monitor your child's growth with your family doctor. Seek their advice to make sure your child is getting the nutrients they need and to rule out any underlying medical conditions that may be contributing to a change in growth. And unless your healthcare provider gives you specific instruction otherwise, rely on healthy food options instead of supplements.
What did you want to have for supper tonight? Pizza.
Kathleen says even though her daughter has a small list of foods she'll eat, she's not concerned.
Overall, I think she's fine. She's healthy, she's growing, she's learning, so I try not to get too worked up about it.
Good advice, knowing that childhood is filled with stages that will eventually pass. With Sunnyview, I'm Monica Mattis.
So what do you think?
I mean, that's great. My concern is when my son doesn't eat his dinner and he takes just one bite or he'll just eat the fruit off the plate or just eat one thing, then he doesn't sleep all that night. And sleep is also crucial, so that he's having a tough next day at school. So I feel like I have to feed him something, even if it's just another apple or something. I don't know.
Right.
Something so he sleeps that night.
Right.
Otherwise he's, restless and just not sleeping well.
Right. So we're saying that we all come across that choosy eater at some point in our lives, and it is, yes, we don't want them, to miss out on sleeping or to be grumpy or to be uncomfortable. So we try to supplement with an apple is a good choice. We try to make sure that we're encouraging the healthier choice versus the non-healthier choice. It's very natural for the children to be cautious of different things, but we just want to make sure that we're always giving them that opportunity to, it takes children 10 to 15 tries, so it's really important to always have it available even though they may not eat it. He might not eat it now, but it doesn't mean that 10 to 15 times later he might. And if we want to make sure that we put like a small portion on their plates. We know that when we're making our meals, like she said, one meal. We're not short order cooks. We want to choose one. But if it's something that they're not interested in, maybe a smaller portion of that one item, where they can maybe try it, but we never want to force it. We don't want it to be a negative experience. And serve it repeatedly so that they see it and they become familiar. Even in the classrooms, we do the family style dining and we encourage them. We would never force them, but we would encourage them. Put a little bit on your plate, give it a try. Some children will be like, nope, don't even want to see it on my plate. Other children will put one on there, maybe take one bite and decide whether it's a good choice or not. And always serve your foods along with things that they already like. So maybe when he could take part in helping you decide what's going to go on the plate. Desserts are rare and never with every meal, and we never want to use them as a reward. A good way to get children involved is to have them help prepare meals, choosing, deciding what's on the menu, and helping. They could do all kinds of things like pairing or any type of that type of thing, helping with meals. And they can also, we want to make sure that we provide healthy choices. So, like example, would you like the broccoli or the cauliflower? We want to be healthy role models. We certainly can't, we have to practice what we preach, so we have to make sure that we're always making healthy choices so that we're modeling for our children. And we want to enjoy each other at mealtimes. We want to make that experience where, they're deciding what they want to eat or what they want to go into their body. We want that to be a relaxed, enjoyable experience. So it's the time to sit down together, talk to each other, have that family time, talk about what tastes great, whether or not it's, to try it, encouraging them to try it. We want them to be a fun experience. And have experiences with food that does not involve eating, such as maybe planting a garden or going shopping or going to a pumpkin patch, seeing how things grow. Those types of things where, they have an understanding of, not necessarily the one item on their plate that they don't like, and seeing how it grows, where it comes from. Get them to know more about it, because it's the unknown that really makes them anxious.
Hi everybody, thanks for being with us. I'm Ann Donovan. And so now we have some information about food and beverages. So then we have to think about what does that mean for us? What can we do next? Because many of us are saying, I wish my child would eat better. I wish this wasn't a struggle at home. What we need to go from wishing to make this more of a reality in our homes is planning. That's something that we really have to think about. It's hard work. This is a journey for all of us. It's something we know a little bit more, we do a little bit more. We know a little bit more, we do a little bit more. And it looks a little bit different for every family. But that planning is going to be important. Does anybody meal plan now? You do some meal planning? Is there any particular trick that works for you?
We just do it before we go grocery shopping. And then this way I know I have everything, and then when Monday rolls around, okay, now I got to take this stuff for this day, and then that night I take out the meat for the next day, and so on.
Then you have it and you know, because as we were saying,
it always happens. Sometimes,
Right, and that's it. We're so busy. There's a lot going on. I mean, I was one of those moms whose youngest child said, I live in my car. So I understand you. There's a lot of things going on. And that's when it's really hard for us, because when we're tired and we have someplace to be in 5 minutes, that's when the frozen chicken nuggets are the easiest thing to do. But if we have something that we've planned and prepared that we know is healthy and it's already ready in the refrigerator or the freezer, that makes it easier for us to stick with it, even though we're really busy and really tired and there's a lot of things going on all at once. And soccer starts for your older one in 10 minutes. So planning is going to help us get through that. One of the tips, along with making your plan for the week, is to look at what's on sale in different places. So we'll take a little bit of a look at that as well. So we know that that doesn't necessarily come easily. It's not something that's easy to do. We have challenges to having healthy eaters in our family. And it's a big job to provide healthy meals every single day. So we know that one of the challenges we just talked about is the choosy eaters, and many of us have that challenge at home. What are some of the other, what do you guys think are some of the other challenges to providing healthy meals at home? Anything?
just trying something new in general.
Trying new things, planning it. How about this one?
Cost.
All right, how often do we hear that healthier food options can be more expensive? All right, we think about that. So there are a couple of things we can do. One of them goes along with that planning. Lots of us get circulars in the mail from the local grocery stores. That's something. If you look at that first, if chicken's on sale this week, then your planning is gonna go along with what's on sale that week. If there's something else, if the ground turkey that's healthy is on sale that week, that might be in your menu planning for the week. When we talk about menu planning, to come up with, you can kind of what they call menu cycle. It's not necessary to come up with 365 different meal plans for the year. As we said earlier, children, it takes a lot of repetition. Does anybody remember how many times they have to try something sometimes, right? At least 15 times sometimes before they like that. So if you have a recipe and a meal plan, you can do it this week and you can do it again next week. Once you put the initial planning work into it, then you've got a rotation that you can go back to as you go through. Anybody do any bulk shopping? Maybe BJ's, Costco, anything like that?
I don't do that, but I do that at the farmer's market.
At the farmer's market?
Like every 2 to 3 weeks, I'll go and get a bunch of fruit and vegetables that last.
So what do you, as I was going to say, what do you do if it's too much? It's cheaper if you buy it in bulk, but does that ever happen that you're like, now I have apples for 3 weeks and they're going to go bad before we can eat them all? Does anybody have an option? Freeze it, all right? If you're going to take some time and sit and cut things and prepare, you can, if you're going to cut onions and peppers and different things, you might as well make some for the future. You can freeze things when you find a good price. Another thing that's recommended sometimes is what they call buddy shopping. If you've got family members, if you've got friends, I know 3 women who always went to the farmer's market together, and they would get a great price on a whole lot of sweet potatoes and then divide up the bag and everybody took some home. So you might be able to work together with other, if you're not freezing, something else you might want to look at is working together with some other folks. All right, and then once you've got something new, it was a great price, I really don't know what to do with it. Does anybody find themselves sometimes finding some fruits and vegetables they're running out of ideas for? All right, it can be tricky sometimes to try something new when we're exposing them to lots of fruits and vegetables. We are lucky to be in an age, for myself, my cooking skills, YouTube, food blogs I love the pictures. I'm a visual learner, so the beautiful photographs that are available online to take you step by step from even, like, which end do I hold it on when I go to cut it? It can be very, very helpful. So that might be something to look into. There are all kinds of blogs and things. In your folders there's some information, the colorful things on the left. You don't have to look right now, but there's a website, that picture, the picture of the plate, myplate.gov. They have recipes. They have cooking in batch cooking in bulk and then freezing. They have all kinds of information on that website. They have it for adults, but also they have sections just for kids. We highly recommend that website to help you out with some things with storage and preparation and skill. The other thing to keep the cost down and to know what to do with some fruits and vegetables is to buy in season. And in your packets as well, we know that during the summer, some things are available at a really affordable price. And then if you go to buy blueberries in January, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. So in season is another way to try new things and also to keep the cost down. All right, cost can be prohibitive, but we've thought about ways to handle that. Storage, preparation, and skill. We can work on that. And remember, the kids don't always care how it looks. They just want it to taste good. All right. Here's another challenge. What's your experience with reading food labels? Does anybody read food labels?
Just the calories.
Pardon me?
Just the calories.
You look at the calories. We've just looked at sugar. Anything else that you look at? So carbs. This can be really daunting. There are a lot of numbers, a lot of percentages, and the thing is, you're not comparing apples and oranges. One of them has, a ton of sugar, so you think, well, this one might be better, but then when you look at this one, it has a ton of calories, but it's not easy to compare. There's not always a super clear choice of which one is best, but the idea that we want to think about is, I want to make an informed decision and look at what my child, what my family is eating over the course of a week. What are they eating over time? Am I balancing and providing balanced options for them? So there are some different things that we can take a look at with food labels. Let's see. So, one of the keys to looking at food labels, which is sometimes surprising to me, is the serving size. Sometimes you have a little bag, and it looks great because it's only got X amount of calories, and then you find out that's really 4 servings. All right, those calories only count if you eat 3 crackers. So you really have to look at the serving size. For some foods, it can be very, very deceiving. We also have, we looked at sugar when we looked at beverages. We have all the ingredients going down in the order from what there's the most of to what there's the least of. So you want to look at the sugar and where it falls along the line. Calories per serving, also calories from fat is something else to look at. So we've got all kinds of things to look at, and it can be a lot to think about. Sometimes in the store, you just want to get in and get out. You've got your kids in the cart. Lots of this is available online, so if you're thinking of trying something new, if you type in, mac and cheese food label, that can come up before, and you can, if you're really studying it and thinking about certain nutrients or certain things you're trying to limit or provide, you can study a little bit about that ahead. So we're going to take a minute and we're going to look at some food items. We'll just take a couple minutes. There's some food items on every table. In your baskets, there's a paper about food labels that you can refer to. Just take a look and see, is there anything that surprises you?
Can't have that.
We'll just give it a couple minutes to see if there's anything that you weren't expecting or that surprises you. Look what I got.
But it's a good thing too.
Anything jumping out at you?
Oh, it's there. It's there. You're over here.
Oh, it's organic, it's really healthy. Oh, like Annie's big, right? Yeah, the bunnies, yeah, absolutely, that's exactly.
I mean, you don't squirt the cheese out too. It's not, it's like powder cheese.
So, in other words,
You're not hungry to make. Now this has what? Just a lot of sodium? Or
See, that's the whole thing, sodium is also there. So this is,
use a lot without anything.
I think, what was the sodium? I think it's on here. You want less, how much sodium?
Sodium? Okay, so we'll take a look at some of it. The portion size, calories per serving. If it's over 400 calories per serving, that's high. Sodium, if it's over 200, that's high.
For sodium?
For sodium.
Over 200 is high.
Right? If it's over 35 calories from fat, that's considered high.
Can you imagine if you got the regular one?
35%.
We just discovered chicken broth has so much sodium, and this is reduced sodium.
Right? And sugar, you don't want it to be in the first 3 ingredients. You're looking for sugars to be a little bit further down the line. So did anybody find anything that surprised you? I'm hearing sodium, a lot more sodium than you might think. Some things are, we talked about earlier, things that are labeled and marketed for children. Some things are labeled and marketed for adults. It says organic or healthy, or it says no carbs. Well, maybe it doesn't have any carbs, but it's got all of these other things. So, like we said, it's not always a clear choice. What we're looking for is an informed choice to really take a look at what we're doing. So just be mindful of reading the label. What's the most challenging thing of reading labels? What do you think?
The ingredient list.
Going through. You don't even recognize sometimes some of the things that are in there. Some foods are very, very processed. So going back to those seasonal fresh fruits and vegetables might be something that's helpful.
I know, right?
When we're looking at vegetables and we're thinking about canned items, canned soups, broths may be labeled as low sodium, but if you take the time to take a peek at the back, you might find out that there's more than you thought. If you're looking at vegetables, you want to look for, or maybe even fruits that are canned, you do want to look for the lower sodium, and then you can rinse it before you serve it. And that will help to decrease the amount of sodium as well. So rather than serving it directly out of the can, even though it's packed in water, low sodium, if you add that extra step to rinsing it as well, that will help to diminish the sodium in the canned items.
We used to have hidden words too. There was a commercial Nick long time ago. If it rhymes with gross, it's probably sugar. Like
Right.
glucose,
Right. There are all kinds of names for sugars. Yeah. When you look in that ingredient list, you may find a lot of those other vocabulary words that really just mean it's a different type of sugar. Yep. And these are also telling you that it's based on a 2,000 calorie a day diet. But it's not, like we said, you do what, sometimes it tells you, is there calcium, is there iron, are there nutrients? It can tell you the good things, how much protein is in it. It can give you information about things that you do want as well. So it takes a little bit of extra time, but it is worth making an effort to take a look at the labels when we're preparing. And then, once we've saved money, we've made informed decisions, we've gotten it all home, how do we get our children to do something with it? So what could be next? One of the things is to get our children involved in the kitchen. It may take a little more time, but we can plan for that. It may be a little messy, but we can plan for that as well. Take a plastic tablecloth or a cut open trash bag and put it on the floor. Get them an apron that makes them feel like they're part of it. They may like that. They can do a lot in the kitchen. We talked about those 15 times of exposure before they'll start to eat something. Sometimes they don't even want to taste it, but if it's new to them, they're very sensory. They want to experience it. So maybe they just need to smell it for a while first. Or maybe they need to touch it. How many of your children react to textures in food? So maybe they need to poke it with a fork a little bit. They need to experience the food in some way before they are willing to taste it and try it and then have those 15 tastes. And they can do all kinds of things. You might not think that children of this age group can be helpful in the kitchen, but there are some things that they can do. Helping to rinse things. How many of your children love to play with water? So if you give them a way to do that, you can give them an apron so it doesn't get wet, prepare your floor, but they can help you to rinse the vegetables and fruit. Tearing the lettuce, if you're making a salad. And when you think about some of these things as we go through, how many skills are also happening? In addition to learning to eat new foods and experiencing all kinds of sensory things, there's fine motor, there's literacy, there's measuring. All of these other skills are happening at the same time. So tearing the lettuce is going to work on that. Snapping the green beans. If you buy fresh green beans in the summer, that's all fun. Spreading things. If you have a child-safe knife, a plastic knife, or a butter knife, or a little spreader, some of us have little spreaders, you can spread some things. If you're working with dough, how much do our children love Play-Doh and clay? They like that motion. So if you're making some homemade dough, even if they have some that doesn't necessarily go in the pizza, they can be working with you and really working on that dough, adding more flour, and they're getting a lot out of that experience. Peeling things. You might have to get it started for them in the beginning, but that is something that they're taking part in. And being independent. They love to be independent and do things. This age group, they love to be doing things. Look what I did all by myself. And then if you give them the opportunity to take ownership of that, and then they can present that to the rest of the family, look what I did. You have to taste it. They're going to want to encourage other people to taste what they took part in too. And just in the kitchen, we talked about other things they can do, not just with the food, but as part of the cooking food experience in your household. If they go with you, they can help you to put things away, and then they know where everything goes. And that's part of sorting and taking care of the house as well. And if they're looking at the labels to see what it is and where it goes, what other kinds of skills are they learning? You got your literacy, your letter recognition. You could talk about the colors of the cans, put all the red ones over here and all the blue cans over here. There's all kinds of things you can fit in there. Wiping off tables and chairs. They love sponges, right? All kinds of wiping and drying can happen in the kitchen. That's very helpful. They do this at school every day. The children help with lunch and snack. One-to-one correspondence. One plate for everybody, one fork for every plate. Right? They can really help with that. Wiping down, cleaning up afterwards. We work on that at school every day. Throwing things out. Knowing what goes in the dishwasher, what needs to be recycled, working through that, that's helping. And even using a whisk or and mix things together. We talked about one way to, I'm not sure if we talked about it, but I know one of the things we talked about is dipping things. They like to dip things to try new things sometimes, so if they are mixing things together themselves, an egg beater or a whisk, they can learn to do that as well. There are lots of things available that are designed for children. Recipes with pictures. They'll show a picture of a measuring cup. They'll show a picture of, the ingredients that go in. There are books available at local libraries. There are things on all these different parenting blogs, and myplate.gov has things. If they're looking at a recipe you don't even have to print it out. It could be on your tablet. Some people use tablets for recipes in their kitchen. They can look at that. So they're learning how to cook. They're learning the sequence. What happens first? What happens next? What changes are we going to see? Measuring. All right, we have the measuring cups, the measuring spoons, counting, measuring, all kinds of math skills going on. If you have a lot of healthy choices available for pizza and they get to put it on themselves, they really like that. Making faces, being a little creative. Little creative arts going on in there too. And mashing things, mashing bananas, some fruits that you might put into a smoothie that way. They can do things with that as well. And there are some examples. It might not look like that, but there are some examples of some things that you can find. All right, so what do you think about that? Has anyone tried any of these at home? What have you tried? Anything that...
Sunday, the groceries. Mom does the groceries, the kids, they take everything out of the bag, they put it on the counter, and they put it away.
So they're part of it. They're part of the experience. So then when you're serving that food on Wednesday night, remember when you helped me put that away? You can bring that back, and then they're really part of it. Anything else? It won't be foreign when you put it on the plate. It'll be something that they have ownership and they took part in. Anybody else? Have you tried anything this birthday? You want to share with everybody?
We just tried my daughter, she's 3, and we call, for setting up the table is, her responsibility. So, we set the items that we want on the table for her on the corner of the counter and be like, hey, Olivia, it's your responsibility. And she's like, okay, and she just grabs it and puts it. And then she just brags about how she did her
So she has to do all of the work.
And it's really developing lots of other skills
I actually
as
had my
well.
granddaughter help me make a salad yesterday, and she doesn't like, avocados unless it's guacamole, and because she helped make the salad, she actually ate.
Oh, that's great. Oh, thanks for telling us. That's great. She was part of it. So it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, and it is a lot of work and planning, but it's worth it. Because if you give them one healthy meal, it's like that old saying, if you teach a man to fish, if you give them that one healthy meal, you've given them that nutrition for that meal. If you take the time to do all this and make this a family habit, you're giving them healthy habits for life. And that's really what we want to do and lay the foundation of, to set the habits now so that they can take this forward through their life and make healthy decisions as they move forward. So that's what we're hoping for. This is all part of the process that we're involved in as a school, and we do want to invite you to a future workshop that's coming. Part of the healthy lifestyle, in addition to healthy eating, is also physical activity, limited screen time. So we do have another workshop coming up where we'll address some other parts of developing a healthy lifestyle in our young students. So we'll hope we'll see you then. So we want to thank you very much for coming. Does anybody have any other questions or comments?
Do you have any tips or suggestions on how to get a child to eat? Like, if I make grilled chicken, or if I made chicken in the oven, like, my son won't even taste it. Like, it's like, nope, I don't like it. And he won't even.
You don't like it?
Like,
yeah.
meat, like meat in general, like whether it's, like, he won't eat a hamburger, he won't
Eat any kind of.
no. But if I get like the Purdue chicken nuggets, then it's like, okay, I'll eat them.
Yeah.
But he won't eat them from anywhere else.
Just
Like,
the Purdue one.
just those ones, if I make them at home, like he won't eat nuggets at school, from takeout, nothing.
Is it
Does
because they're
anybody
not
else have that
crunchy or anything
experience?
like that?
What's
Is it
that?
because they're not crunchy?
No, the ones at home are not crunchy either.
That's the only kind of chicken my son
No.
eats, so we actually bought an air fryer and we try to do like crunchy vegetables and
Yeah.
things like that instead of deep frying it.
It changes.
That's
the
not
I have
sure, but
texture.
it
tried
works
baked
sometimes.
chicken, air fryer chicken, I've tried like Chick-fil-A chicken, no,
Does he like dips or any type
No,
of?
he will not use
he
any
won't eat any
condiments.
dips. 'Cause sometimes
no condiments
they
at
change,
all.
like if you dip it in a little something.
I have
it just-
literally, and it's probably me, I like actually taken it with my finger and like, here, taste it, and he like flips out, like he does not
And we
like
don't want
condiments.
those negative. we don't
No,
want
but it's
that,
like
yeah.
something, like, what can I do? I'm like, at my,
I think we should, go ahead.
Well, I think if it's something that's this is general information. If there's something that's a serious concern, I think you want to work together with your pediatrician because they'll look at, are they growing? Are they gaining weight? Are they
Oh, yeah,
growing?
it's fine.
The growth chart. The other thing is, some people kind of look at it as a category.
Yeah.
Like it's a protein category. So I think if you look over, sometimes they say look at what they get over the course of a week. Rather
yeah, I
than
mean,
during
he's growing
one
just
meal.
fine, probably.
So if
with
there are other
vegetables, 80%.
sources, like we said, it's looking at balance
Yeah.
over time. So I think if you want to
I
look
didn't know
at,
if there was like a trick to get him to eat.
Probably just like, if everything is fine, it's just might not be his thing. He might be getting his protein in other things.
I kind of mix everything, like you make like a shepherd's pie, you mix it with like rice.
He loves
That's his other thing, like, I
So-
won't eat like stews or soups. Like,
Yeah.
everything can't be in one thing.
yeah, it's funny. You have some kids who like
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
all together, and
won't let
some
it
kids who
touch
like
each
pick
other.
out everything.
So he have his food separate.
I think going back to that video too, when they say, you know, she said, if there's a problem, definitely check with the
Yeah.
pediatrician. But that whole idea is, he now knows that you want him to eat.
Yeah,
You know?
so now it's-
And now it's become like, oh, well, I can just say, no, this is one
Yeah.
place. And if they are growing and they're healthy, then I think maybe sometimes we just have to take a step back. And it is, a lot of it, stages. You watch your children grow all the time, right? They're always start with one thing, and then it's something else, and then it's something else, so.
And they eat for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden they're 2 inches taller.
Yeah.
And they stop eating.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes.
I also have trouble with my 3-year-old son who he doesn't want to sit for the meal. It's not so much that he doesn't want to eat. He wants to get up, go play, come back, take a bite, and like that's turning into a struggle. Like we're sitting here eating, like you're gonna sit and eat, and again that's like a negative thing. I don't want to fight with him over a meal, but if he, he eats, he just goes and plays for a second, comes back, takes a bite, goes and plays.
My son will try and convince us he needs one truck on the table.
Yeah.
So he'll get down.
He gets a
and
magazine,
truck.
and yeah, and he'll like sit there and read the magazine while he's eating and playing with it. Normal. It's distracting.
It's tricky, yeah.
I was watching Pete the Cat with my son. There's an episode where it's the 3-bite rule. He didn't like something, he did the 3-bite rule and actually liked it. And sometimes I say that to my son and he'll try it. And he'll take 3 bites of Pete the Cat. I think it's on that, there's like a series on Netflix.
Okay.
So if you look for that episode.
Yeah.
And so we're like, remember Pete the Cat, let's try
Yeah, I'm gonna
3-bite
look that up
rule.
because
And he likes it. And sometimes like he'll be like, all right, it's not that bad after
Okay,
he
yeah.
takes 3 bites.
But that's very important, remember, how many times do they need to taste something to acquire taste? Even as an adult, to taste it and taste it and then acquire taste, because most of this is about acquiring taste, tasting something new.
And sometimes you adjust.
That's why we said not yet, we don't like this yet.
Right.
So even when they say, I don't like that, say, oh, you don't like it yet.
You don't like it, yeah. And modeling is big as well. And I know here in the classrooms at lunchtime, there's every adult who is seated at a table with the children. There are 2 tables in every classroom. The adults also have the exact same meal as the children, and they model it and talk about it. Like, oh, this is so green. Green's my favorite color. They'll talk about different things. But modeling is also, and having that discussion and conversation about it sometimes works as well. So it's individual for every family. It's a journey, but we hope that we've given you something to think about, and we wish you well in your journey, and hope that we'll see you again next time.